Hey everybody, Blake Smith here, Project Manager for Faith Unfiltered Podcast. We've got another special cross post for you from our friends at Ministry for Dummies, Humberto and Jacob Ross. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Ministry for Dummies, a Community of Christ podcast hosted by Field 5 in Community of Christ. All are welcomed here, and the stories and opinions that are shared here are a part of our story and do not necessarily reflect the official position of the Community of Christ.
Woo, Field 5. Yeah.
It's always good to remind people.
It's always good to remind, hey, we're just here.
Do not get Bert fired.
Please do not. I know. It's crazy. Oh, yeah. Anyways, especially this week. Oh my gosh. Actually, okay. We're just going right into small talk. So we are doing the Spiritual Formation Companionings Program. And it's a program where individuals and leaders of the church come and they, learn about how to be spiritual guides. It's been a wonderful program. I mean, awesome theologians that have been here and just really raw and honest conversations. And that's actually what kind of brought on our topic today. But I've been sitting in the back because I'm not an official part of it, but I've been observing and participating and acting as
mooching
staff.
Off of the church's resources. That's what it is.
100%. That's what I do.
Bert strikes again. Unbelievable.
Bert strikes again. But I've been working, and I get up and I run and I do the printing and the copying, just support staff, and then the First Presidency has also been coming to sit and to support the program that's been going. And yesterday, Stacey Cram and we were sitting together, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm sitting next to Stacey Cram. Like, that's pretty cool."
She was like, "Oh God, I'm sitting next to Humberto again."
I know, right? She ate one of my cookies from my plate
that I this had. Idiot.
I know, it's crazy, man. Honestly, that was my reflection. After we left, I was like, wow, I sat next to Stacey Cram and I didn't say something stupid for once. Good job, Humberto. Personal growth, Yeah. Anyways, Jacob, what's going on with you? You just got done telling me about a very tranquil and spiritual day that you've been having.
Today has been just a trip. Yeah, I mean, I got on. Normally, my strategy is to not really share that much of my day when we get on, so we have something for the episode. But I was so mad when I got on. I haven't talked to anybody. It's all right. So we've talked about what I do for work. We just signed a lease. We have a workshop in Houston, right? I'm in the office. It is just me. And so far, my day has been FedEx delivering 6 packages to me. Well, not to me, saying they delivered them to me, but there are, in fact, no packages. Says they were signed for by an A. Rodriguez. It's just me. My last name ain't Rodriguez, so still trying to figure out where those are. I went outside to go track down those packages, got stung on the ear by a wasp, and then I got back, discovered that the shipping I had paid extra for to have a lift gate, because I don't have a forklift. In fact, 2 shipments I paid extra for, neither of which had a lift gate on them. So then I had to borrow the forklift and driver, that just out the goodness of their heart, my neighbors, the hardware people, let me borrow that. Well, they offered to help. Gosh, it's just been a freaking day, and it's not even 1:00 yet. It's just the life of working in a small business where I'm doing everything. I'm learning on the fly here. For example, I need to be putting in the suite number, the dock bay door number for my business, because that will help my drivers out. That'll just be, the right move for them. And 2, I need to beat the crap out of FedEx when we get off this episode and verbally abuse their computer who answers the phone for them and tell them to get me my gosh darn shipments. Somewhere in the ether is $650 worth of parts that I need. Gosh.
We don't like FedEx anyways. They canceled their branding with the Washington Commanders. So, we don't like FedEx.
That's right.
So,
screw FedEx.
I know, right? Ugh. Also, props to Jacob for saying gosh darn, making sure we don't get that little E by Ministry for Dummies.
Right.
Good job.
If we ever get
Jacob.
an E on a Ministry for Dummies episode, 1, we're doing something wrong because we need to edit that. And 2, that's like a whole nother problem.
Say, that one we might get an email about. We might get a talking to. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to avoid that.
I mean, actually, fun fact, the apostle that did approve this retired. So, like, now we're really kind of in the weeds. Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, they don't need to know about us.
I know. Rested pepperonis. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, pizza does sound good.
Dude, pizza's always good. We actually, okay, so, two things. I love it when Community of Christ gathers, not just because of the people, that is the biggest part, but like we know how to eat. Like that is one thing in Community of Christ throughout the church. Like when we put on a spread, and we've had some amazing food. So shout out to Tyler Mars, who works in Formation Ministries, for all the work that he's done, putting on just a great spread, especially for all the dietary restrictions. It's just been wonderful and amazing. And point number 2, they had pizza one night, and then the next morning we had leftover pizza, and Tyler and I were like, put the cold pizza out for breakfast, like pizza champions. And it was just so fun to like see like the generational gap, because like some of the younger people were like, heck yeah, pizza for breakfast, this is what it is, and like older folks are like, why is a pizza out here? Like, it doesn't make sense. Exactly. That was actually really, really funny. So I enjoyed that. Yeah. So
I will say At our congregation, we have a couple, Rosie and Brian Ash, and they always smoke meat for our potlucks. And it's like the best thing ever. They always bring, not always, it's not them. I mean, maybe it is them. There's always take-home containers there. Grab some of those ribs, pulled pork, whatever he makes. Brian's like a master.
I love it.
I love barbecue so much.
Yeah. Is this something you guys
looks so good?
I was going to say, is that something you think you're ever going to get into? Because you like cooking. I know that's something that we both like.
I do like cooking. Yeah, I do like to cook. I could see myself getting into it if I ever wanted to pay for a self-regulating smoker. Like Brian is out there till like 4 a.m.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a dedication.
And I just,
it's an art.
I don't have that dog in me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
don't have that dog in me.
No, like I said,
I would love to be able to smoke my own meat.
I think once you understand like what it takes to do like good barbecue and like good smoked meats, like you respect it so much, because you're just like, yeah, this is an art form. This is a labor of love, and you can tell when something's done right and when something is not. Yeah. So in Humberto's world, like I said, we've had the spiritual companion program. We had author Claudio Carvalles, who's wrote many, many different books, is a wonderful theologian, come and talk a lot about, liberation theology and different ways of interacting with groups. And it's just been really, really good to hear his perspective. It's honestly just been really cool to like, because he is not a member of the church. And like for him to reflect and say like, there's just such a good spirit here. And like, I want more people to know about your church. Your church is amazing. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. Like we also like our church. It's pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, he's wonderful. I would highly recommend. He has actually a book that I start my day with called Liturgies from Below, that talks about different prayers and different oppressed groups. And that's kind of a good
I thought it was
segue.
Stuff from hell.
Maybe.
It's like, oh, Bert, that's a little dark.
No. It's good. Well, actually, so that it's a really great transition into kind of what we're going to be talking today, dear listeners. And that is about social justice. And what is social justice? What isn't it? It's a buzzword that obviously is around a lot of Community of Christ theology and teachings. But it's often, I would say, abused and misused. And especially with my work and Jacob's work, social justice is something that is always on our heart and always in, I would say the very fiber of what we do. And we thought it'd be just a good thing to talk about. So I guess the first question is, how would we define social justice?
Do you have like an official definition, or is this just like a vibes, What are my vibes about defining social justice?
I mean, we always go on vibes, but I also recognize we both graduated from a liberal arts university, and I honestly do not think there is a more liberal arts university statement than like, what are the vibes of social justice? Yeah, okay, ready? We're gonna go to the Ministry for Dummies.
Webster Dictionary of this alive.
What are you talking about?
This is great podcast.
No. This is the research department of Ministry for Dummies.
Research department.
Yes,
we're so screwed. What'd you get in your history seminar? You get an A.
Shut up. All right. So,
Okay,
the
you
AI.
did it. Oh, we don't even have a decent researcher. Oh
No,
my
I
God,
got an A.
screwed.
I got an A
Oh,
in
okay.
in
You
it.
got an A in your history subject. Well, you're fine. We have an excellent research department here.
Exactly. I told you. I have a college master's degree. Thank you very much.
I
And
know
actually,
you
they
do,
did.
but I know the college. That's part of the problem.
Well, hey, shush. It's okay. Today's podcast is sponsored by Graceland University. Graceland University.
Right.
Have you experienced cold? Come to Lamoni. All right.
Yes.
So social justice is the principle of fair and equitable treatment, opportunities, and rights for all individuals in a society, regardless of factors like race, gender, or economic status.
I would have said ensuring equitable opportunities for all, so I was pretty close.
Yeah. So,
Not
okay.
bad.
So, Jacob, what is your definition of social justice?
That's my definition: ensuring equitable opportunity for all.
Yeah. I would agree with all of that. And, I think what I'm going to try to do is simplify it to really kind of its core. And I think that social justice is about being aware. It's about recognizing elements in our society that often individuals take as just defaults of this is how the culture I was raised in is formed, and this is how it will always be. And social justice, I think, takes a step back and asks very poignantly of why is a system that we have the way it is? Who are the voices that are impacted the most by that system? And who are the voices that are suffering because of that system? And there's different degrees among all of that. And so I think, unfortunately, many have turned social justice into this idea that only aligns with one political party, especially in the United States. And that would be, often we hear that, and when I say we, I mean you and me and others in the world, we hear that social justice, that's a liberal thing, and not having social justice is a conservative thing. And I would say that is wrong on many different counts. The biggest is that, again, social justice is the one that takes a step back, and no matter who is in the White House, no matter what party controls the Congress, no matter who's in the Supreme Court, social justice looks at all of that institution and says, we can do better. There is always something else. There's always another layer that can be looked at. And it's an ongoing conversation. And I know for many, they can be frustrated by that because, I think whether it's right or wrong, I understand the thought process behind it. Like, you just want to get to a point where you're not going to have the conversation anymore. I think a really great example in our church and Community of Christ is that, even before Stacey Cram was ordained, there'd be some who I think would, and I hate to use the term ignorantly, but I will say like, oh, gender equality in Community of Christ is done. Like, check that off the list because of Section 156, and not recognizing that, no, just because the official policy has changed, there is still this underwhelming element of disparity that exists. And same with National Conference decision in Community of Christ. We checked that off our box. We don't need to worry about it anymore. Again, just because you have official policy doesn't mean that the culture has changed and the way that we look at those elements. So yeah.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's like social justice warrior is a slang term.
Yeah, oh, yes.
They're a social justice warrior. It's like, okay. Is that supposed to be like a burn? Like you burned them? Like, oh no, they're out there working to try and ensure equitable opportunity for everyone. Got them, I guess. Roasted? I mean, I don't know. It's like, that's stupid. It's just, yeah. It's true, right? It is totally a political thing now. Like, oh, they want to take away our opportunity, right? Oh, you want to blah, 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 DEI, right? It's like, really? I mean, no. Like, I think you have to be on it, like, understand context and understand how many layers there are to things to really be able to understand it. And yeah, like, if you're stupid and you don't take into account any context whatsoever, yeah, you could probably get to that point relatively easily. But if you take a step back and use more than 2 of your brain cells, you can pretty clearly understand why it's an important topic and why it's not a political thing. It's embedded in the roots of Christianity, the religion, Christianity, the faith movement, not necessarily Christianity, the religion and the institution.
Yeah.
Christianity, the institution, is very much embedded in fighting social justice. See Crusades.
Yeah.
See Catholic Church during World War II. To start there.
Yeah.
So as with all things, institutions can corrupt faith.
100%. And I want to name something, very personal to me, is that sometimes decisions that are done in the name of social justice can also be harmful. Again, using that hindsight, using that critical thinking. I'll use an example of there are often times where I have questioned my worth as a minister or my acceptance because of things like what some might call DEI. Like, am I just here because I'm brown and I make people feel good by being brown? Why is that, relationship? And so I think really what it creates is this need for, again, dialogue. I think that is the cornerstone of good social justice, is dialogue, not just making decisions because they make us feel good, but recognizing where that comes from. So, universities have been in the news in the United States and around the globe about, what does that look like? There was a time where individuals of color were not allowed to go to certain universities. They were forced to go to other universities. And so there was initiatives to try to change that. I think that, and again, Jacob and I, we are not education individuals. Again, this podcast is called Ministry for Dummies. But in my humble opinion, I think there are definitely still those barriers that exist for people of color in the United States. And what it is like being brown in the United States is not something that I can say and give your perfect answer to if you've never experienced that experience, but I can share my own personal testimony that it's very difficult. I mean, you often are in the target of political theater on both sides, and you often are in this space, again, where you're feeling, I'm a human being first. Like I am a human. I have a beautiful culture from Mexico and Honduras that I love and that I am proud to be a part of, but I'm a human being. And I think that is often a piece that gets missed, is the humanity that is there.
Yeah. Not just a prop.
Not just a prop. And, and honestly, I think, in Latino cultures, the Latino vote, that's what they talk about, the Latino vote. I think both the Republican and the Democratic Party have realized in the United States that it's a diverse voice. I'm what's called the Chicano, Mexican American who lives in the United States, is going to vote very, very different than a Cuban American because of different background and culture. It's a diverse voice. It's a diverse group. Yeah. And I mean, and Latino Americans are and Latinx are not, alone in that,
homogenous.
Exactly. It's a diverse voice. Definitely. Yeah. So Jacob, here's the, $10 million, 10 peso question. Was Jesus a social justice advocate?
You'd be stupid to say no. Give me my $10 million.
Yeah, there you go. I said pesos.
Cash that check. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, if you read any parable for yourself that Jesus is talking about, or any of his interactions with the people he associated himself with, tax collectors, prostitutes, lowly fishermen, right? What was he about? Providing equitable opportunity for people who are marginalized or looked down upon. Women, lepers, Samaritans, adulterers.
Children.
To name a few. Children.
Yeah. And I think that's often what gets missed when people read the gospel.
No, it doesn't get missed. Missed is the wrong word. Ignored.
Ignored. Much better. I think that's often what is ignored when people don't read scripture in its context. Because when we say tax collector, we think of someone from H&R Block down the road of like, I mean, yeah,
I think of the IRS, but
it's not something that someone that you like, but but Jesus' system, there was deep levels of suspicion and corruption that exists. When you think about, the Jewish people and the Samaritans, that was an ancient feud that, again, we have to put it in a context maybe that we might understand. It is the Republican helping the Democrat. It is the Democrat helping the Republican. Like, that was Jesus was trying to say of, you have those labels. Those labels are important, but the individuals, the person who is hurt, Jesus uses, Jewish religious leaders overpass that person who was cast down the road and shares. It was the enemy that shared so much hospitality, so much love, and truly was the neighbor to that person. And, in that parable, what Jesus is trying to teach is your neighbor is everyone. Claudio Cavalis, who was here, he really had us focus on John 3:16. All right. So Jacob, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is John 3:16?
For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son.
Okay. I want you to say that very, very slowly. Say it one more time.
For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten.
You said, for God so loved who?
The world.
So why do we think that only refers to humans? It doesn't just refer to humans. For God so loved the world. That is all living creatures. That is the entire globe. For God so loved the world that Jesus came to us. And honestly, like, it was not until he did that practice I was like, oh my God, I've always thought of that as like, yeah, for he loved me. God loved me. And that's why Jesus came, because Humberto's so special. But it's this radical way of looking at it, it shifts the conversation of, for God so loved the butterflies. For God so loved the wasps that just stung Jacob's ear, that Jesus was there.
We'll revisit that one, Jesus. Yeah.
There you go. There's important theological conversations, but I mean, for me, that's at the heart of social justice. That it comes from a place of love. It's not a place of, I'm trying to infringe upon your rights. That that someone owes me something. It is truly a place of love, and I think that's something that. I will say this of the critique of social justice advocates that often gets misused. Of it's not coming from a place of love; it's coming from a place of anger, frustration. I get that. I legitimize why that anger is there, but how many times have we seen people change because they were angry versus they changed because they understood, they loved, and they recognized the pain that someone else was going through, and that's what led to change. That's what truly led to the self-reflection of, I'm either a part or there is a system of oppression towards a group of people, and I need to act more loving.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that is the strength of Community of Christ, is this identity of community that has dialogue with one another. We've talked on the show before about the importance of faithful disagreement, and how I personally believe that has been radical for the life of the church, because that was not always the case. And that is something that is radical in Christianity. It's either a get in or get out mantra. And that's why we have thousands of different branches of Christianity and all the mega churches down the street, because it's this attitude of, you must believe what I believe or you are gone. And I think having this identity of faithful disagreement has helped us in so many different ways. I think it will continue to help us as we continue to navigate, what social justice means, in 2025, 2026, and so on.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, it usually does. It's like a retaliation thing, right? Like, people, it certainly comes from a place of retaliation a lot of times, as opposed to a place of, we need to be at a different plane here.
So, Jacob, specifically in your work, where do you see social justice, or maybe where do you see a lacking of social justice in your new job that you have now?
A new job. So I'll start. Should I start positive or negative?
Wherever the Spirit calls.
I'll start positive, since I think we could use a positive here. I do see. So we work with this organization. I think I've shouted them out before, called NYANAM International. NYANAM International. They are a nonprofit in Western Kenya that works with widows. and absolutely focused on social justice, giving those women opportunities because they're intentionally shunned. They're the lepers. They're the tax collectors. That's who they are. Members of the community view them as unlucky, bad omens. And this organization focuses on giving them practical job skills, income opportunities, and housing, and just general quality of life improvements. That's absolutely social justice, caring for the poor, caring for the weak, downtrodden. Absolutely. Now, of course, the negative is everywhere else where people are struggling in housing. It's something. All my numbers are Kenya-based because obviously that's my area of expertise on this, and hopefully I'll have some U.S. numbers here eventually. But something like 53% of Kenyans living in cities live in informal settlements. So that's like 8 to 10 million people. And the housing shortage in Kenya is 5 million houses, and it grows by 250,000 units every year. So the work that we do is focused on an area where we're trying to uplift people, because social justice is so much more than, we want our bathroom signs to be equitable, right? It's not about gender neutral bathrooms. If that's what you think social justice is,
if you think that's the end all be all of social justice, that is
you're right. Yeah,
that's a small element.
Exactly. Yeah. You're a clown. Touch grass. I mean, if that's really what you think it's about, you're just not that bright. I'm sorry. You need to broaden you need to take intentional steps to broaden your horizons, because that is intentional and malevolent negligence on your behalf. That's what that is. You need to step outside and meet some people.
Yeah. And hear voices outside of just your neighborhood. Yeah.
That's why diversity is important, right? All right, not to keep touching on the fact I'm in an MBA, but I'm in an MBA program, right?
And they're wonderful, right?
They're wonderful. One of our professors for organizational behavior, he's former lieutenant general, multiple doctorate degrees from Ivy level institutions, taught at all the Columbia, West Point, all these places, right? And he comes in and he goes, our second to last class, here's what is, here are my 5 leadership principles. And one of them was diversity. And he goes, there's nothing woke about diversity. Diversity is what makes organizations strong. If all you have is people who look like you and talk like you and think like you, you're all going to have the same problems you do, and you'll never have an innovative approach to solve them. And you're just going to end up back where you were. If you are a strong organization that has good principles and a successful leadership outcome or successful organizational outcome, you will have diversity, because you will have people who think differently than you, and you will come up with different ways to do it than your competition does. And if you don't do it, your competition will. That's what he said.
No,
he's right.
Spot on. Yeah. I think for me, Jay, I don't want to cut you off. Was there more that you wanted to share? Oh, so I think for me, in my work in the church, especially focusing on children and youth, social justice fits in helping children recognize they have a voice, that they have a voice in their community, whether it's in their spiritual community or in their school, that if there's something that is bugging them, they have a microphone and a megaphone to share that, and how crucial that is. And often, especially when children might be new to Community of Christ, I lead them through this practice where, if we're at a campgrounds or here at the temple or wherever, I have them sit and I say, okay, I just want you to hold just some piece of this area with you, so, holding a bench, holding a chair. And I just want you to close your eyes. I just want you to hold that to you. And what I say is, what you are holding, what you have in your hands, is all because a young person had a question and they refused to accept the surface level answer that they were given. And they kept asking and they kept pondering and they kept searching. And that is the tradition you belong to, because of one young person who had a question, this is what happened because of it. So don't tell me your questions don't matter. Don't tell me your voice doesn't matter. Don't tell me that God doesn't speak to you, because God is. And it's crucial when you have those questions, you chase them, you explore them, you are become curious. And I think really, to me, that's kind of the crossroads of social justice is, if brown people make you feel uncomfortable, why? Like if people who are part of the LGBT plus make you feel uncomfortable, why? Be curious and ask those questions, and that it's okay to struggle with things. Struggle is okay, but don't pretend like it doesn't happen. Don't write someone off because they make you feel uncomfortable. If the homeless make you feel uncomfortable, why? That's a great question. If the homeless make you feel uncomfortable because it reminds you there's suffering in the world, why is there suffering in the world? And then why? And why? And why? And yeah, it's a long road. Oh, trust me, it's long and hard. But that's why our faith teaches us what to do. It keeps us grounded. It reminds us that these are important questions, and that this journey is not supposed to just end when, okay, that's an hour, that's done. No more time for the good Lord. I got to go watch, the Commanders lose. It's important. It's about reaching out. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Humberto's in a dark place with his football love. He's in a dark place. Everything's bad.
Join me, brother.
Oh, I don't want to hear it. The Steelers are doing fantastic compared to the Commanders. I would take Aaron Rodgers in his current play.
Diced us up like he was freaking Bobby Flay,
and that was hilarious to watch. And I was a good friend. I didn't text Jacob at all and made fun of him.
No, you didn't. Thank you for that.
I did say, though, because at the beginning of that game, it did not look like they were going to do well, and I said, okay, this is bad. Anyways. So I know we've talked a lot, but I think for me, it's that mindset of why. It's that mindset of curiosity. And especially if you're a member of Community of Christ or part of the Restoration movement, I think that is ingrained in who we are, of this desire to search, this desire to gain more knowledge and to become closer to God's Spirit. And that is an ongoing process that does not stop.
I agree.
Awesome. So again, I guess, dear listeners, we put the question to you: what is social justice in your world? What are you doing, either in a congregation or as an individual? What are those things you're passionate about? Get curious, get involved. There are things, I promise, in any local community, whether you are in a very rural area or a urban area, there are things that you can do. I know as we're recording this podcast, the federal government of the United States is still shut down. Again, that is not a political statement. That is the truth. And a truth that comes from that is that there are many individuals in our nation that are about to go without food benefits. Food banks are in desperate need. And payment.
A lot of government workers aren't getting paid.
A lot of government workers aren't getting paid. There's a lot of people who are really, really on the verge of a lot of hardship. So have you donated recently to your food pantry or your food bank? Is that something you even know where it is? Especially, urban areas like Kansas City and Houston, they have pretty robust areas, but rural food banks are crucial as well. So don't think that's just a big city thing. People need help.
48 of the poorest 50 counties in the U.S. are rural.
Yeah. Amen. Exactly. And I will speak for Jacob. For those who are facing that struggle, please know that you are not alone. That there are advocates who love you, who support you, who recognize that you are not a burden on the system, and that you deserve respect and dignity. And please know, we hope that you find that aid that you need. There are great resources that exist in your community, and please know that you are loved and you are valued.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's try to end a little bit lighter. That was a really heavy topic, but it's good. It's important for us to talk about.
It's a good topic. It's an important topic.
It is. Thank you.
Just a reminder of who Jesus was. They didn't execute Jesus because he followed all the rules.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
You got to remember that.
Countercultural.
The people who ran the country and the people who ran the religious institution that dominated the day, they didn't like Jesus because he was pushing outside the box, pushing for the marginalized.
Amen. Well, dear listeners, as we draw to a close, just a reminder that you can send us your comments or questions at ministryfordummies.org. We do have a question and comment from Michael Judd. I believe it's the same Michael Judd from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Blessings to my brother. Michael Judd put that their favorite campfire song from my days with the Salvation Army was I Met Jesus at the Crossroads. Not a song I'm familiar with. Jacob, have you heard of that one?
No, I know there's a country song. Meet me at the crossroads.
Okay.
Meet me at the crossroads. You won't be lonely.
Again, Jacob has lived in Texas for 6 years and has become a full rootin' tootin' cowboy.
For the record, I did not learn that song in Texas. I learned it in Pittsburgh because one of the radio shows goes on the Penguin Steelers or Penguins Facebook pages after they lose and reads like the down bad comments. And then they play like, I'm done with this team. And then they play, oh, we lost another one. And then they play that, we'll meet you at the crossroads.
So, dear listeners, you have heard it here first that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is just as redneck as Texas. And with that, we shall draw our episode to a close. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. This podcast is made possible by listeners and disciples of Christ and by members of Community of Christ. Without you, we would not be here. If you have any ideas or questions about the podcast, let us know. We'll see you on the journey, friends.